everybody, welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me. Down the inside, absolutely impossible scene. This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We'll go bust. We got our elbows out.
Ronard takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Yarda Watmere is your champion.
Good evening and welcome back to PSGL. It is time for another season. Season 41 is about to get underway and it is time to go to a much loved and favoured circuit. It is the one and only Albert Park over in Melbourne, Australia, with its 5.278 kilometre long circuit and 14 turns and 4 DRS zones. But for some reason, that's not telling me on my screen there, but I'll get that updated for next time we come back to Melbourne, Australia. But for now, it is time to get ourselves ready for 18 drivers to take themselves away for qualifying ever so shortly. My name is Corey Brooks, one of your two commentators for this evening. Join with me back again, it's Omi. How are we doing, my friend?
Doing very well, Corey. It is time for another season of PCF2. We're going to be looking forward to this as well. It's going to be exciting. Cannot wait for this one to begin. Season 41. And after a record-breaking campaign in Season 40, it leaves us well poised with some of our top contenders progressing on as well with their careers. And it's allowing a lot of drivers to move up. It's allowing a lot of drivers to take another season on and try and contend for the title.
Yeah, it's like you said, a bit of a mix in the order, some new names that we've not seen before in PCF2. So some drivers that you may want to keep your eye out and ready for. So before that, we'll take a look at your lineups to see who has got into PCF2 this season. Here you can see your Season 41 placements for PCF2 tier, starting off with the full-time drivers being Liam Stevens, Luca Rapassa and Leo Lund. Joining us tonight is unfortunate, not able to attend, but we have 16 of these being full-time and 2 of them are reserve drivers filling in. We'll get more into that when we get into qualifying. Of Pascal Irinele, Nelson Alves, Sergio Sobrino, Larry Toolkit, Diego Zorzo, Rishan Jacobs, Cameron Dowd, Tony Hitala, Joel Murphy, Campbell Adams, Isaac Leott, Gregory Prizable, Tudor Pressakan, Tom Roberts, Ryan Modler, Oscar Furheim and Keaton Lutt doing off your full-time drivers, and just 5 reserves filling in true PSGL fashion. Gabriel Quintino, Reyes Intiaz, you'll see on the track here tonight, Florian van Zelter, Conrad Bohm as well on the track here tonight, and Rens Tomassen. Any drivers catching your eye?
Sounds exciting. Sounds... well, there's quite a few, but yes, all of those names sounding exciting. You have to look at Liam Stevens, highest returning driver for this season. You have to look at Campbell Adams, reigning F3 champion. There's a lot of other F3 champions on the grid, including Pressakan, who finally gets their chance. But there's a lot to talk about. There's many drivers in contention. I feel like after the domination of last season, this could be a season where the title goes down all the way till the final race, Corey. And we are about to get going with our opening qualifying of the season.
We absolutely are. The drivers are taking themselves over to that sunny lit sky in Australia. So we'll get over to the track to see what the drivers can do for 18 minutes of qualifying. Oh, and to the track, quite a lot of drivers coming out, ready to set their opening times, their opening laps. And quite interesting to see that maybe, just maybe, somebody unorthodox may be on pole position here tonight.
Absolutely. That is definitely a possibility. Only 6 drivers have taken pole position in this tier in the past. That list includes Conrad Bohm, Diego Zorzo was able to also grab a single one. Leo Lund is one of only 2 drivers to have actually 2. That also applies to Tony Itala, Tulki, and also Sergio Sobrino at the 1 number. So there is some drivers in this field who have taken poles before at this level. There's going to be plenty of them who've taken it at the lower levels as well. It is such a big progression for these drivers, and Campbell Adams really excited to see how he's going to do, along with Isaac Lee, along with Gregory Prezibel. It was a great, extraordinary title fight to end F3 last season as well, and unfortunately it ended in tears for Gregory Prezibel. Isaac Lee also had to settle for the runner-up. So we have a lot of great talented drivers who get their chance, and a lot of returnees, as I mentioned. So it's going to be competitive, it's going to be exciting as the drivers now push on for the opening qualifying of the season. We have a bonus point available for the driver on pole by the end of the 18 minutes.
Absolutely. Now we're just on board with Joe Murphy, the first driver to take us away with a time lap, invalidated instantly, coming to the right-hander of turn 1. Firing it around there, you've got to try and cut the apex on the entry to try and get the exit line as best as possible. And for Joe Murphy, just cut a little bit too fine a line and ended up getting that invalidated lap. So we'll be certainly heading back to the pits with that one. We'll look to the driver behind him, who's Jezala, who will be next to come towards the checkered flag to set the opening banker time, and comes firing around 9 and 10 now. Famous corners which have seen a fair share of drama in the past. But for now, nice and done with for Jezala. I'm going to have to try and find out what the actual name is for that driver. I'm going to look at the team assignments because it can't be Jezala.
Absolutely, I've not got that name on mine. I've got full names as well. There is a thing in the game where two commentators can actually see different names in the lobby, which is always fun. I've had that, and I've actually been on the other end of it, so it's a bit different this time by. Okay, opening laps coming into play. Diego Zorzo, a 1 minute 14.341. Oscar Furiham as well, the reigning PlayStation champion in terms of F1 on PlayStation. So there is a lot of hype, I'm sure, around him as he makes the switch over to PC. So looking forward to seeing what he can do. It's always great to get drivers coming over from the console side. Rapassa going into second place. Tony Hietala, the driver who started round 1 and the final round from pole position last season. Third right now, 1 minute 14.445 for him, as more and more drivers try and get a lap time on the board.
Okay, so for some reason I see Jezla, which is Isaac Leah, I believe. I think it's something, I don't know what it's something to do with my settings or name settings, but I'll have to look into how I can do that. But I think I'm seeing his Steam name as something completely different than what it should be. I might have to add him as a friend or something, I don't know. Is it EDA name or something? That's confusing for me. But more drivers coming to set their times, as Larry Tulke is invalidated a lap, or he's just going to reach. I don't know, was that an out lap and starting a lap for Larry Tulke?
Definitely could have been, but yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about it in terms of the name. As I mentioned, I've had it many times and it's fine for me. It's just a game, it's just an extra feature of the game, unfortunately, that we have to deal with. But yes, Isaac Leet doesn't really need an introduction for our F3 viewers, as I mentioned. The runner-up and the driver who fought for the title, but lost out to the driver who's currently on provisional pole, Campbell Adams, as well in his home race. So, well, that's a way to make your F2 debut in your home race as well.
Yeah, I've got to agree on that. I think Nelson Alves is coming around to start a lap as well. I think Campbell Adams could be looking to maybe be a worthy contender for pole. Diego Zorzo, we know, is also a very fast driver. He's taken many a race victory through his past seasons and comes back to PCF2 with a bang, looking to what could be a championship after, like you said, Omi, records were broken last season out with Angelo Di Altensio, but hopefully now Zorzo has a chance to take some of that cake, or is Campbell Adams looking to put a stop to it already in round 1?
It's going to be exciting. I've been so looking forward to seeing what Campbell Adams is going to do as he arrives to us in the second tier. There is a few drivers who also have been driving in the past. So while they return as well, we have seen drivers like Gregory Prezibel, Pressakan, we've had Kedon Lutt, we've had Tom Roberts. They've all made their debut in the seasons before, but they've had to fight their way through as well. New games mean different pace levels. Of course, sometimes drivers can get the momentum going. Talking about momentum, Alves, currently the new driver with the pace as well, a 1 minute 14.323. But yes, game to game, I guess drivers' motivation changes, their pace level changes as well. So as Murphy spins around, as he was trying to push on. So, Corey, 1 lap invalidated, 1 lap with a mistake, and that's not what he would have wanted on the exit of turn number 10.
Oh, Murphy's really struggling here for round one. It's not going his way. His first qualifying session of season 41 and already 2 laps that he's going to want to forget about after this session is over. But he's still got plenty of time to get the lap in. It's just how many sets of tyres has he gone through? Did he use another set there on this second lap? And is he down to his final set?
Assume so. So it's a trip back to the pit lane. An absolute terrible way to start his campaign. He was a reserve driver last season, full-time this, with the Alpine squad, as you can see. And it was, I think, really the result that he got in Japan last season that kind of secured him this spot. Reminder to you that in terms of their placements, they were decided based off the results for the drivers. If they had done 3 or more races, it would be decided with their performances of season 40. So it's only new drivers or drivers who move across from console to PC that would need to put in times. And that is, so a lot of this is of course based on what we had last season. So it's going to be exciting. Alves, Adams, Zorzo, Stevens and Rapaz are top 5. Already an interesting top 5. Already a few shocks coming into play.
Well, Zorzo is on another push lap already. See, with it being such a quick lap here in Australia, you can get quite a few laps in if you get your head down and knuckle on with it. No wasting time sat there in the garage, and you know, you get yourself out there on the track, find the time, find the limits of the car, and for Zorzo certainly looking to do that. Still has plenty of time to get back round and set another lap, maybe even another 2, but still pushing through, goes into the pits. He's not happy with this one, although it was a flying lap. So no improvement to come Zorzo's way. He's going to wait it out a little bit longer, and he gets himself back down that pit lane.
Indeed, as he comes in, lots exit as the drivers begin their out laps as well. 10 minutes, just under that to go in terms of our qualifying for the opening race of the season here at Albert Park. And for DRS zones, as you mentioned, around the circuit, they'll need that in the race. But we've got a game, Corey, where it is hard to overtake. I think it's fair to say Rapasa goes to the top, so it means you've got to put in performances like we've seen from Rapasa. You've got to be nearer to the front if you want any chance to do anything in the race, if you want to get a good result by the end of it, and also to just remain inside the strategy game as well. It is so important to make sure that you are at the front, or you're looking at a very difficult day at the office.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed, you need to secure position here in qualifying to get yourself off to the best start in the race, because like you mentioned, it's very difficult to overtake, as seen by previous races around the calendar in season 40. The drivers struggle, even with DRS, to find any opportunity, any open door to get on through and make up positions. It's all about the race start, it's all about the strategy. When's the best time to box? Undercut, overcut, which is it? It's all track dependent. What have you seen?
Liam Stevens, highest returning driver for this season, and finding himself with a spin, exactly the way that Joe Murphy had it. So lots of drivers coming a cropper at turn number 10 on the exit there. They're trying to stand on the power. Adams goes back to the top. He is delivering absolutely fantastically on his PCF2 debut.
Pressing the wrong button. I was trying to press shift, but I was pressing caps lock to try and jump down the order to get on board with some other drivers who were doing laps. And we're on board with Ryan Modler, who's at the bottom of the order of timed laps so far. As you can see, Larry Tulke and John Murphy, they are struggling, the Alpine duo, although one of them being in FBI, one of them being in SCI, opposite teams. And there's a squabble for Ryan Modler there, coming out of turn 4, but he's flat to the floor once again out of 5 and up to finish sector 1. He's down on the Delta, so certainly going to be wanting to scrub this lap and get back to the pits. Not happy with that indeed. I doubt you can find 2 tenths out of that. It was a disaster sector 1 for Modler.
Absolutely. Gregory Prezibel to the top. It is turning out to be quite the opening qualifying for the drivers who move from F3 up to F2. As I mentioned, Gregory's been with us in the past. He's now on pole. Adams in third. That's an Australian 1-3 at the moment. And in the middle, Sergio Sabrino has slotted himself in as well in second.
Joel Murphy finally gets the lap on the board with a 14.325, just a few thousandths away from Nelson Alves, who is also out on a lap, coming down to that checkered flag, looking to hit it. Is there an improved time? No. Burley loses out by 2 thousandths of a second on any sort of improvement, so he's going to be heading back to the pits, and it is a 1-lap shootout in the end. to try and get ever further up the field. But Gregory, he's absolutely flying out there at the minute. 14.171 for Sergio Sabrino. He's not too far behind.
Absolutely. Well, with two of our newer drivers for this season being Australia, I'm not surprised that they are already nailing this circuit. They probably have done a lot of driving around here, so that's definitely aiding Campbell Adams and Gregory Przybylь in terms of starting life or returning back to life in F2 in the case of Przybylь, as Diego Zorza now in fourth.
Isaac Leah just having a bit of a moment coming out of turn 10 though. It was a 10th up on the Delta and has had a disaster moment coming into sector 3. He's now got just a few corners to go. Gets him into the harsh braking zone of 13 around the final corner of 14 before you're boosted just by a little brief second from the DRS. But I don't know if that improvement's going to stick. Did he lose out too much time? He did improve, did manage to hold a 10th there, bringing it back towards the final corners. Jumps up to 15th, but that moment there has probably cost him another 10th at least.
Absolutely. So quite a few struggles going on for Isaac Leet, as meanwhile Rapasa now begins a flying lap. Driver currently in 5th as well. He makes his way and he's invalidated a lap immediately. So he was looking to try find a time that could have challenged for pole position. Instead, it is the lap immediately gone, and that is basically that lap completely done. I think he might come back into the pit lane, wouldn't be surprised, so he can quickly change tyres, get that extra fuel and head back out there to join the rest of them in our shootout, as the checkered flag will fall in about 5 minutes time.
Yes, I did just jump on board a Rapasa and actually go on to a TV pod view as he's entered turn 1 there. Entry was fine, but he just snagged a little bit of understeer, I think, and went a bit wide as he was trying to get himself ready for turn 2 and just literally slipped outside of the limits for a passer. So like you mentioned, that lap is done and dusted. He will be heading back to the pits, so I suspect will be Oscar and Isaac Leah as well, because we're getting to that time of qualifying where the drivers are waiting for the best minute to hit the checkered flag, the final second, so the track evolution can work in their favour. A lot of people tend to not talk about the factor of grip changing as the time ticks down on that clock. It is going to come to you, and in the final seconds of qualifying, you want to make sure you hit that checkered flag to start your lap with 1 second on the timer, if not on the timer, to start your lap, and make sure you don't muck it up, because that's when the track will be at its best.
Risk versus reward stuff. How brave do you go around Albert Park to try and get yourself to a higher position as well? The drivers are always dancing on the edge of track limits when it comes to the final run. It can favour plenty, but it can also mean that you have a lot of work to do in the 29 lap race that will be coming our way later on. PCF1 had quite a crazy race a few, 2 weeks ago it was, or a week ago rather, it was quite a very crazy event for them. So PCF2, well, in terms of chaos, they have the standard set quite high. So let's see how these drivers are going to do. It's the first round of the season, so we can always expect quite a bit of F2 chaos. If you've been with us before, I'm sure you're already used to it by now. If you're new, it is great to have your company wherever you might be watching from in the world. The cars are making their way out onto the circuit, and we are about to get going, Corey, to crown our opening pole sitter of this season 41.
Absolutely, we'll jump on board with the first driver leading the way in the white hat, being Tony Hietala. And hopefully Hietala can jump up the order there, sitting outside of that top 10. Any driver wants to get a good start into the top 10, if not into the top 5, so you know that you're comfortable and away from any backlash from behind. But being there in 13th, you've got to watch everybody in front of you and also pray that nothing happens behind you. You don't want to be in that mid-pack, you want to be right at the front, to say the least. But for Hietala, he needs to generate a bit more temperature in that. He's not really doing a lot of weaving, as we've seen from some drivers. Or maybe he's just feeling a little bit comfortable out here in Albert Park and doesn't feel like he needs to pump any more temperature into them, because he's about to get underway in 3 corners time.
Absolutely. He is a driver who can do very well at qualifying. He's had 2 poles, as I've mentioned, but he's never had a top 5 in his 14 race starts that he's had in PCF2. This is the 14th. He's had 13 before. Let's see how he's going to do then around this circuit. We've got 3.2 miles to go to find out what this lap time will be for Tony Hietala. Now about to make his way and push down in towards turn number 3. He's now opened the DRS for the second time on this lap, and then in a few corners time he'll be able to do it once again down the back straight as he looks to try and find an improvement. 13th would be a disappointing way to start this season considering how last season went. He's only up, but it's by 1,000th of a second.
1,000th of a second. It's the fine margins that matter, but it's not enough to jump up any positions. Needs to try and squeeze a little bit more time out of that as we get going into sector 2. Down towards sector 3. Is there any more time to give? Just under a 10th. 700ths of a second has been found so far from Tony Hietala, and there's only a few more corners to go for between him and higher positions in qualifying, looking for that top 5 that he's yet to achieve in 14 races here in PSGL F2. But for now, just a couple more corners to go. What sort of improvement will we see from the Haas driver coming around the final turn? Burn what little of the battery you've got left. Open that rear wing for the final time. Hits the checkered flag. Is it enough? It's 2.5 tenths. And it's P3 for Hietala. What a lap indeed. But everybody further behind is looking to improve on their laps. So will it stand?
That's the question. Campbell Adams, he was going to be hoping to now respond to the lap of Hietala, but he has invalidated. What a disappointment for him as well. Sergio Sabrino has also invalidated. Gregory Przibil is still improving on his time. Imtiaz is in the pit lane. Dowds is in 11th, he's confirmed. Murphy in 8th. Nelson Alves, though, to the top he goes. What a superb lap time. That is as well as he chases his first ever pole in F2. What a brilliant moment it could be for him on what is his 38th race start. He's had so many attempts at it. It finally could happen in season 41, but Gregory Przibil is going to be the one to watch as he makes his way round the final few corners in his home race. He returns back to PCF2. Can he do it in style? Can he do it with a front row of pole position as well across the line? He's taken it by a few thousandths of a second. Gregory to the top.
Absolute stellar lap from Gregory Przibil. Much needed to take and guarantee pole position. Nelson Alves bringing the fight, but he's just a few thousandths short. It is 13 thousandths away from him and pole position. Be kicking himself because that is the slightest of margins. You can't even put that into a thought of how quick that could potentially be in a relative time. But for Gregory Przibil, he's managed to find that extra time and jump to the top. Further down, Sabrino locks out a second row, but I think is Luca Rapassa. It is indeed. Rapassa found a little bit more time as well to keep in 4th position, so that's good indeed. We'll now get a final standings classification for you of your first qualifying session of season 41, and from P1 to P5 it is all within a 10th of a second for Gregory. Nelson Alves, Sergio Sabrino, Rapassa and Hietala are all going to be kicking themselves. They couldn't find those extra few hundredths of a second. And then we got to Campbell Adams, and that is, I think, Conrad. It is indeed. Diego Zorzo, Joe Murphy and Larry Tulke doing your top 10. Outside of that, Isaac Leah, Cameron Dowds, Liam Stevens, Reyes Imtiaz, Oscar, Rishan Jacobs, Keenan Lott and Ryan Modler, finishing off your 18 drivers joining us here in Australia.
Absolutely. 6 different drivers on this grid who've taken a pole. Make that 7 now after a great return for Gregory, who is going to be starting from pole for this race. He's had 1 podium in the past. It is his 12th race start in the tier as well, but it's going to be a special one. It's going to feel like a debut, even though he's been with us in the past, because of the big gap that it's been. But he's just going to try to do what he's done in F3, and he could find himself in a good position. Title contender in F3, looking to try and immediately be at the front in F2.
This is going to be an interesting round 1, to say the least. Gregory Przibil taking that all-needed pole position. 7 different pole sitters here in Albert Park. But for Nelson Alves, can he just sit behind and find that open door and strike on through? Because for these two, they have also got the threat of behind of 3 other drivers that were just within a cusp of taking pole away. So how is their race pace going to fare over the next 29 laps? Not only that, what strategy have they got in mind for us? It wouldn't surprise me to see a mix in the medium runners to hard runners as we get going into the race start. We like to see a bit of a mixed grid in that sense on the tyres, and it all comes down to which strategy will benefit the most.
Absolutely. Those are all the questions, and we're about to get some answers. Here we go.
It is 5 lights, the grid is hot, the drivers are ready, and we are all go, go, go. And it looks like a beautiful getaway from your pole sitter. Nelson Alves also trying to slip a move up to the inside, but can't seem to get on through. Further back, we have Rapazza going side by side with Sabrino. Rapazza later on the brakes, dives on through, managing to pick up a position, and he's left Sabrino. Easy pickings for Hatala, who's looking for an outside line. Can he find an open door? Not quite. Further behind that, we have Conrad and Campbell Adams side by side. But further behind that, we have 3 wide between Larry Tulki Zozo and Joe Murphy. Side by side, it's 2 by 2 like Noah's Ark, and it's chaos coming through the opening first sector before they all fall back in line. And everybody now needs to settle into a rhythm and a pace. They've had a little bit of fun, and the gaps are starting to open there from the front.
Brilliant way to start the season. Gregory and Alves maintaining order. Rapazza immediately going on the attack as well. We're heading to the fast turn number 9. Who's feeling brave to try and go for an overtake? Single file for most of the field. Isaac Leet, though, after a disappointing qualifying compared to some of the other drivers who have progressed up to F2. He'll want to immediately try and go on the attack. Now we're looking to see whether anyone can make those overtakes. Leet is looking for it up against Murphy, but there's not going to be a switch in position between those two drivers as we get ready to complete lap 1 of the campaign.
Absolutely, we're about to finish tour 1 of 29, and everybody falling back in order. Let's see the tyre deposition. Majority starting on mediums, apart from Keaton Locke. Rashan Jacobs, they've gone for the hard compounder tyre, going for that alternate strategy. So for now, we're going to see a mix in the boxing order. Some are going to go for the undercut, and some are going to have to wait 1 lap longer, running the same tyre. You don't want to box the same as your counterpart on the track, but are you working as a team on the track? And that is the question. Is it every man for himself, or will we see team orders? Because ahead of Isaac Leet there, you see the Alpine duo, Larry Tulki and Joe Murphy. Will we start to see some teamwork here?
You'd hope they get on, they get to pick their teammates, but in certain lineups, we do find ourselves with a situation where it is just put me with whoever. That's what that is what is told to our coordinator of the season, Ryan Modeler, the German driver who's improved up a few places from where he started the race. Now lap number 2 DRS comes into play, but if it's a DRS train, it kind of equalizes it all out anyway. And with how the dirty air is on this game, even if you don't have DRS, you can maintain the positions about 7 times out of 10.
Absolutely, about to finish lap number 2 now, and everybody inside one huge DRS train. You see the fastest lap changing person after person who gets the faster time with the slipstream and the DRS ahead of those. But for now, everybody just running their own pace, trying to think about tyre management as well. It's also a massive factor that I've noticed in F125. This game cycle alone, you need to manage those tyres. But look at that, Ryan Modeler's going for a move, diving to the inside, does move ahead of Oscar. Oscar's trying to fight it back with a switchback, can't find the grip of the traction to get alongside that Scarlet Red Ferrari. Modeler moves ahead with a beautiful move coming out of turn number 3.
He's another driver trying to make up for what was a bit of a poor qualifying, and he'll want to try go on the attack. He was 6th last season in the overall standings, in the 3rd tier as well. But we're looking to see who's going to follow in the footsteps of Angelo Di Ortenzio, our first ever 2-time champion in PC F2 as well. And ever since then, ever since we last spoke with you, he has already made 2 appearances in PC F1 and has performed quite well. A very impressive qualifying as well on his debut, and then a very impressive P5 provisionally in yesterday's race. So he's really proving to be quite a big talent, making the most of the opportunity that he has. Of course, he can't yet compete in esports due to age reasons, but he's definitely learning everything to be in position to go straight in when he is older.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Certainly one of the drivers to watch out for, a rising talent in that sense. Did also make appearances for the team that are would sign him into esports, but of course, if you say is the age issue for him at the minute, he did appear in E-Series last season, season 6, for Ferrari, and I think 2, maybe 3 races for the Scarlet Red team. So again, one of those drivers that certainly making his mark and getting himself known out here in esports.
Absolutely. As the field continue to rotate their way by on what is currently turning out to be a race which is going to basically be heavily dependent on the strategy. Everyone in formation, no one looking for anything wild at the start of this season 41. Of course, F2 has been in operation ever since season 29 as well. This PC F2 second tier, we've had some great champions crowned as well. Of course, the party that Samuel Bean started all those seasons ago has been absolutely continued by some great names who have gone on to do some great things, and I'm looking forward to seeing who it could be by the end of this campaign as well. But yeah, a very unpredictable one. I think we came into season 40 with a driver who we knew could possibly contend at the front, but this season there's a few names that I've definitely looked at as possibly being contenders, and then Corey, we come into this qualifying session and we have a lot of the F3 stars already performing near the front as well. That's just the way, isn't it?
Well, there's always room for improvement for these drivers, and they're certainly finding it coming into season 41. They've been able to improve on their talents coming out of F3, coming into F2, and already looking at the front of the pack in round 1. So the returning drivers from PCF2 might need to have a little bit of rethink on strategy here, and maybe, just maybe, get a bit back up to pace and on par to challenge back and, you know, reclaim that you are the ones at the top of the field, not the F3 drivers that have made their way in here now. So this could get a little bit spicy, a little bit dicey between the battles. We'll just have to wait and see how things unfold. But again, it is very good to see those drivers that were competing in the F3 tier, and especially at the top of the F3 tier, and now also competing towards the top of the F2 tier. Absolutely.
Really great to see as well. And yeah, hopefully we are going to get some crazy races across our campaign. We'll of course talk you through the calendar later on, but we've got some great circuits coming up. We head to Spa, which, if you weren't with us last season, delivered us with a last lap fight, a crazy last lap fight. Texas delivered us with a last lap fight. That is round number 3 as well. And this calendar has basically been made to try and deliver the best racing. So there was a lot of discussions after last season, and it was mentioned that they would try and make it as best as possible to get some overtaking. Now, I know what I'm about to say next, round for Monaco, probably doesn't suit that, but that's just PSGL heritage. We have to go to Monaco. We always do, as well in this specific season. It always just has to happen. Round for Monaco, the 20th November. Make sure you're with us for that. It should be quite a chaotic race and quite a different style of race. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that is going to go. But Austria, Canada, Britain, Mexico, Jeddah, Brazil, and our title finale will be held at Abu Dhabi. So it's going to be one long journey, which will take us all the way till the 22nd of January.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where things are, you know, getting through the Christmas period. So when we go through to that Christmas era, we will have that nice little break and relaxation therapy. We'll come back and finish off the season in January time. But, you know, I like that. I like that we're going over the Christmas period, because everyone can all rejoice and celebrate mid-season. But for now, we've still got round 1 to get underway. We're only just getting started, man. For now, it's looking a little bit dicey at the front. I've seen that Rapace is getting a little bit close to the back of Alves, then just backing off a bit, not able to find the move. He gets close and he's backing off again. And he's really trying to find some form of opportunity come his way. But Nelson Alves just holding strong, holding firm, maintaining the pace. You know, Gregory ahead is also dictating the pace at the minute with this huge DRS train. They're all in this tyre management mode, seeing how long they can push these medium tyres. And you know, I think Rapace is getting a bit. You know, I might make a look for P2 in a lap or two's time.
Absolutely, it'll definitely be heating up there. I am sure in the battle for second place, because Rapace will be like, okay, Alves, if you don't want to do anything, then let me have a go as well. There's a whole train of drivers waiting. When it goes to the final stage, you can always expect some form of battling, because the drivers right now are just sitting there. in position. They are waiting now for the pit stop phase, which Murphy's going to begin now at this moment in time. But when it comes to the race at the end, the drivers know there's no more strategy to save them. There could be. There's always the chance of a safety car, but that only happened on a few occasions last season. So you have to basically then start making progress. If you have gone through the pit stop phase, you know where you are, then you know you're stuck with this. So you may as well have a go and try and do your best as well. Jacobs, unfortunately, doing his best might be slightly difficult because one of our reserve drivers for this season, Florian Fanzelt, reporting in the chat that Jacobs didn't even survive one sector. He got damage in the opening sector of our season 41 here.
It was quite a chaotic opening sector on lap 1. You've got to say there were 3 wide moments coming into turn 4, back around turn 5, and out of turns 2 they were all side by side. At least 4 to 5 cars were side by side coming down in towards turn 3. So it was a chaotic race start, but lap 1 incidents always occur. Lap 1 incidents always happen. You've got 20 drivers, well in this case 18 drivers in this Grand Prix, all powering down through the opening corners before the gaps start to form. And here we see Rapassa also following suit into the pits with Gregory. Gregory, your race leader, sacrificing that lead to Nelson Alves for some fresh boots on that McLaren car. So, unless Nelson Alves has one stellar, absolute stellar lap here, he's immediately going to be undercut when he does decide to box.
Absolutely. Here we go then, everybody. It's the interesting part of the race where we get the strategy playing out, and it's always exciting to see where the different drivers are going to, where they're going to factor out onto the circuit. Campbell Adams slightly deep into the first turn could give him a driver behind of Murphy looking to try and make a move, so that could get quite interesting for 15th and 16th as well if that battle is to continue to develop. But really it's going to really start to heat up when those drivers, the ones that are continuing on, when they try and make their way out. Turn 1 can get very, very tight as well, especially with the cold tyres for those drivers who will be rejoining. So, well, let's see how it is going to play out between them. But Alves, your leader, Sabrina second, and Hiatala third, as our top 10, our top 12 in fact, still need to make their pit stop. Lutt and Jacobs, of course, on those hard compound of tyres.
Yeah, so Rashan Jacobs with the damage on the start, he's saying he's not going to make any inroads at all and is just losing pace, almost 2 seconds behind Keegan Lutt there. So he's just trying to run the strategy out, and then when he ultimately has to box, is he going to swap that wing out? Is the damage that bad that he's no longer able to hold pace? But we do see quite a lot of drivers dive into the pits. There are 7 drivers from Nelson Alves down, all swapping out those boots, and as expected, Gregory is going to come out ahead. But I don't think Nelson's lost out too many positions there. I think he's come out in net P3, so he's only ended up losing 1 position to Rapassa. He's ended up following suit with Gregory and boxing, but he is a second down. He's outside of that DRS, and unless he pushes very hard now to get back into it, this could be damaging on Nelson Alves on those cool tyres.
Absolutely. So, Gregory Predible, Luca Rapassa, Nelson Alves look to be the drivers who are now going to contend things at the front of the field as well, as Liam Stevens fights his way past Oscar Furiem, who is the reigning PSF1 champion. Great to have him jumping over and joining us. Looking forward to seeing how his campaign is going to go. But yeah, Rapassa now in this second place. We mentioned how he was trying to overtake Alves earlier on when they were together. I guess that headache is gone. He's only got now Gregory Predible ahead. So yeah, this could be quite interesting. Predible versus Rapassa. They're currently in 6th and 7 as well, 7th, but they're going to get the chance to go to the top when, of course, we see the pit stops coming for those drivers who are ahead.
Staying on board with Keegan Lutt here, who's getting mighty close to the back end there of Oscar Furheim. He's looking to potentially make a move under DRS, but he got close enough on the previous lap 10 in sector 3. He just couldn't seem to get the braking right to lunge ahead or get side by side. Liam Stevens did manage to get ahead of the Kick-Salver car, so I wonder if he's just struggling with tyre degradation though. These are running the longest out of all the drivers on the medium compounded tyres. As you can see, 10 laps ran so far, and Keegan Lutt's tyres, those hard compounded tyres, should start to come to him now over those medium runners ahead of him. So eyes on Keegan Lutt looking to move ahead of Oscar and Liam Stevens within the next lap or so, unless these two finally choose to box.
Absolutely. So let's see whether we're going to get anything. Lutz getting closer, closer, closer into the back of Oscar Furiem as well, into the braking zone of turn number 11, 90-degree corner, a 90-degree corner where it was very close between them. Okay, let's see whether they're going to come into the pit lane or will, no, he is going to have to overtake on the circuit. We are going to get a battle, don't worry everyone. We are about to possibly see these two go at it. Ken and Lutz hoping to easily get by. We've had a close moment into turn 11. Let's see now how this one's going to play. A good exit, so important, of course. Oscar's also got the DRS, we have to remember, so you've got to use the battery, and you've got to be close most of all if you want to try and overtake.
Yeah, it just doesn't like Keelan Lott can find that opportunity. Sector 3 is where he's finding the most. He's just got the grip advantage coming out of 9 and 10 and can seem to just get on the power a little bit better than those medium runners and just gets to run right down to the back of him coming into turn 11, but just can't seem to literally get alongside or get an open door come his ways, like you saw on previous lap 11, almost pushing Oscar through turn 11 there. So here we go again, up to 9 and 10. You'll see the run that Keenan's going to get. He's all over the back. Look at that on the exit of 10. And now maybe he's close enough. Two sides up a move. He looks left. He looks right. It looks like the left side will be the choice. Can he go late and around the outside? He's going to try for it. The Kick Sauber's trying to push him wide. But Keelan Lott does manage to pull ahead. And this battle between Keelan and Oscar, Oscar is the one who's losing out.
Hards versus mediums. They've both ran 11 laps, and now Oscar, of course, with losing that position, can come into the pit lane as he stretched it out very long. Meanwhile, Cameron Dowd is battling away as well. Conrad Bohm's in there. Isaac Lee is trying to find his way through. That's exactly what we're mentioning. Now, if you are lower down, you realise that you are kind of in this position. You've got to try and get on with it from this point onwards. So some interesting battles beginning to develop as the field continue to make their way through on the 13th tour out of 29. Oscar, of course, comes out of the back, has a few laps fresher tyres though than the drivers ahead.
On board with Isaac Lee at the moment, who's all over the back of Conrad. Look, he's trying to make any sort of move to pull on through, but didn't have any open door come his way. He's still all over the back of that Scarlet Red Ferrari. Certainly has a pace advantage here over Conrad Bohm. But Isaac Lee still can't seem to find an open door or any way through yet. Is it going to come down to a high minerals maneuver is what I'm going to say on that one. Does he have the minerals to try and send something through a fast turn? Or maybe even in sector 3 here down to turn 11. He's got a bit of a run there on the Ferrari. Looked a little bit slow on the exit. Did Conrad Bohm, and Isaac Lee burning the battery with the DRS. Can he find an open door? Still not to come his way.
Got close, didn't he? Zozo comes in as well from the race lead. Isaac Lee got close. Can he just get to dive bomb range directly in front of this? Dowd is trying to do the exact same on Joe Murphy. So we've got two interesting battles that are taking place at the moment. And Murphy is now losing the 1 second. He's got DRS down this straight and the next as well, because through the detection point he was inside the 1 second. He's now starting to lose it, so that should make Dowd's life quite a lot easier in terms of getting past the Alpine driver. But in terms of Isaac Lee, he has to do it the harder way. He has to try and forge his way through, see whether he can force a mistake out of his racing rival as well, Conrad Bohm, a driver who has been able to get a pole position in the past, has never been on the podium, has never taken a win. He's been in the top 10 on 2 occasions, has Conrad Bohm, so he's going to try and make it 3 by the end of today. Still a long way to go, as meanwhile Gregory Przybylj just overtaking Rishan Jacobs. Jacobs kind of not fighting that one too much, but it has allowed Rapasa to now get onto the back quite a lot of Przybylj.
Yeah, further behind that we have a little battle going on between Alves, Sergio Sobrino and Rishan Jacobs as they all try and fight their way through that slower running car, and they do manage to get through with ease. Rishan Jacobs still running those high compounded tyres. I think he's being lapped at this point, and he's certainly struggling here on out. He's going to have to box and try and regain some time there.
Indeed, side by side, continuing then down the straight in towards turn 1. Adams trying to just fight his way by cleanly up against Rishan Jacobs. Of course, they're both in different races. Jacobs has that front wing damage. Adams trying to find an open door. He's going to get up the inside line. Will be able to fight his way by as well. Contact further back. Front wing being lost. Conrad Bohm up the inside of Murphy. He's barging Murphy out of the way. And it's getting to PCF2 racing that we're used to from the past. Bohm ahead. Then it is Murphy. Then it is Dowds as they try and make their way through.
Further ahead, Hatala just diving through Rashan Jacobs. A nice little move to slip on through. Again, Rashan Jacobs running the damage and the old hard compound tyres. They've been used for 14 laps now as they get going on lap 15. And further ahead there, we see them fighting each other. Rashan Jacobs, he's trying to hold back Tony Hatala there, but there's nothing he can do. Hatala does manage to slip on back through. And further behind that is Cameron Dowds fighting away. No, it's not. It's Jezla, which is...
spinning!
Oh, no! Spinning Larry Tolke has been sent packing after he was trying to fight his way through with Isaac Leah there and just got a little bit too friendly on the brakes and sent for a spin.
Yeah, it's getting aggressive, isn't it? It's really, really getting aggressive between the drivers out there on the circuit. We're getting to contact territory. Conrad Bohm up the inside, gets past. Rashan Jacobs is providing us with all of the entertainment in the world in this race, giving us all the battling here at Albert Park as he just tries something with this race. Imtiaz, now a reserve driver, up against Diego Zorzo. Diego Zorzo, who finished 14th in season 40 last time out, will definitely want more from his campaign this time by, so looking forward to seeing what he's going to be able to do. But once again, a bit of a start to the season where he's having to recover in the opening race to see what is possible. Murphy's got past Jacobs as well, and he's not the only one. Cameron Dowds trying to fight away by, basically bump drafting Joe Murphy ahead, create some room for himself, and now Cameron Dowds will get a chance to make an overtake of his own. Jacobs will be under pressure from Isaac Lee, who's been trying so long, Corey, to make some overtakes. He might finally get one, but here comes Modler as well.
Oh, here we go. 3 wide. Almost coming into the final corner. Modler's getting involved. We're going to go 3 wide again as we come down into turn 12. Although we see Diego Zorzo back out of that and switch back on Rashan Jacobs, and now gets alongside Ryan Modler with that manoeuvre, which will now switch to the inside line for him, coming out of the final corner and dives ahead. That was beautiful stuff from Zorzo. Read that situation perfectly, put that Mercedes in the perfect position. Switchbacks one, gets to the outside of another, switches to the inside on the final turn and powers ahead. Beautiful stuff.
Absolutely. Now it is Oscar Furiem trying to overtake Ryan Modler. And Modler trying to park that Ferrari, make it as wide as possible as well, to try and get himself an opportunity to try and do something. As meanwhile, Rapassa able to get by on Alves as well. So those two are battling their way through. Rapassa back ahead of Alves, and Gregory Prezibel looking to try and continue things as now Zorzo and Isaac Lee go side by side. We've got racing absolutely everywhere at the moment as well, and now it is going to be Jacobs getting passed by Ray Imtiaz, and we've got Liam Stevens there as well.
Yeah, Liam Stevens is also going to try to look to get on past 2-lap old versus 16-lap old tyres on Rashan Jacobs Racing. Bulls cars side by side as we go into turn 11. He's pushed onto the grass. Liam Stevens has been pushed out and into the gravel. That is absolutely unfortunate there for Stevens, and I think that's a little bit controversial from Rashan Jacobs there.
Absolutely. Fighting away, and it gets to brinkmanship point as well as the racing continues on lap number 18 out of 29. The race absolutely flying by here in Melbourne. Our opening race of the season, as I mentioned, Alves versus Rapassa's continuing, but Gregory's just doing well. He's controlling things, not under any pressure, just keeping the gap where it is within 1 second, so you can't completely relax, but he's able to like not be under threat every single corner in the way that Rapassa right now is up against Alves.
No, absolutely. Gregory just thought I've been keeping away out of that danger and running his own race, and for now it looks like Nelson Alves is still trying to push on hard and get back to Luca Rapassa and retake that P2 that had been stolen from him from the Red Bull driver. But looking further down the field, we may have Zorzo as well clawing his way through the pack. He's getting a little bit close to the back of John Murphy there. Is there a move coming as we see Tony Atala pulling a fakie on Campbell Adams as well just ahead?
The racing, the battling, all continuing then, as well. Is that going to be a dive bomb then incoming, as the racing is going to get really close between Hietala up against Campbell Adams round the final corner. That should be the position gained for Hietala across the line, as Luck comes in to the pit lane, meaning that the net race lead battle, now the official lead out there on the circuit as they continue to make their way through. So Lutt on those medium compound of tyres then, and he's going to look to try and see what he can do with that. Cameron Dowds is going to definitely try and make an overtake as well. He's looking for an open door round the outside, but Murphy putting that Alpine in the places that are making it quite difficult for Dowds to find a way by.
Yeah, Dowds all over the back of Joe Murphy. It's Racing Bulls versus Alpine, and the Racing Bulls has the pace advantage at the moment. He only has 1 lap tyre advantage over Joe Murphy, but he's certainly putting it to good use and looking for an opportunity to find his way past Diaz further ahead. Diego Zorzo as well, clawing his way through the field, was P10 just a lap ago. He's P8 at the moment and looking to get a rundown on Conrad Bone. Can he make it stick as we get going into Sector 3 down towards turn 11? No open door coming his way yet. He may have to wait until next lap, but he's almost pushing that Ferrari through the turns. As you can see just how much more grip Zorzo has on those 5-lap old hards. There he goes, dive to the inside, coming into turn 13. Beautiful stuff, which will now go the long way around the outside of the final turn, which is going to allow Conrad to try and fight it and keep his foot in the door. But for Zorzo, he's just got that tyre advantage and he's pushing very, very hard. But I think Conrad's been able to do it down into turn 1. He has. Oh, wow. Beautiful fighting there between the two. And Conrad Bull manages to hold that position and keep Zorzo at bay. Another dive. There he goes into turn 3. Diego Zorzo still not letting this scrap, not letting this fight fall away. He's still bringing the pressure to the Ferrari driver and manages to pull ahead there as we get going out of turn 5. That was really nice.
Very nice indeed. Battling, continuing corner after corner, so many different drivers getting themselves involved, and of course it is that lower end of the top 10, all looking to try do things, all looking to try and salvage a better result by the end of today in terms of our race lead. Gregory Prezibel has that one covered. Rapaz and Alves have been with him the entire race. Sergio Sabrino would love to try and get himself onto the podium. It would be his 8th podium in the second tier if he's able to do it. The most experienced driver, of course, Sergio Sabrino, with 69 race starts after today as well to his name. And, well, that title, of course, formerly belonging to Halliday of our most experienced, now going the way of Sabrino, who's been racing for quite a long time as well. With us, great to have him back for what is his 9th season now.
Now we see Zorzo move ahead of Campbell Adams there, and Cameron Dowd still all over that rear diffuser of Joe Murphy, unable to find his way through. But he's getting closer and closer. Look at that, trying to slipstream, goes to the outside, late on the brakes, and there's contact between the two. Dowds is going to have to back out of that one, but it was a brave, bold move, and you have to take opportunities like that, especially with how difficult it can be on this game to overtake.
Absolutely. Rishan Jacobs further back now, pushing on, front wing damage repaired, and just looking to try see what he can do as well. Okay, are we ready for some more battling between Cameron Dowds and Joe Murphy? Because that is what is coming our way. This is for 9th position on the circuit. Dowds getting closer, closer, closer. Turn 9 comes. You make your way through turn number 10. Foot to the floor then towards turn 11. Not a good exit, not a chance. This time by then for Dowds. What about Diego Zorzo? Because I think he'll be getting very close to a point where he is pushing Tony Hietala through right now at this part of the circuit. Meanwhile, further back, Oscar Furiem ahead of Ryan Modler. They've been going at it as well for quite a while, and now Diego Zorzo is going to fancy the open door up against Hietala, and he's going to fight his way by. That's a switch that comes in between those two drivers. Great battling all across the field right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Further down the field, those medium runners, one being Keenan Lott, has made his way up to 13th so far. Has managed to catch that pack back up very quickly on those fresh medium compound tyre, and he's now making inroads with 7 laps to go and plenty of positions to pick off. Here comes another one on Oscar Furiam, done and dusted into turn 3. There's nothing he can do to fight that one back. The grip advantage for Keenan Lott is just too much, and here we could see quite the strategy to behold. It is the one stop, going long on the hards and now trying to last for 10 laps on the medium compound tyre while making massive inroads. Diogo Zorzo as well. 8 laps on those hard compound tyre, has managed to run longer than the rest of them, is now making great inroads. Moved up to P4. Keelan Lutt once again, another position picked up to P11.
I can tell you, Corey, it is absolutely heating up in terms of the battle for the lead. Gregory Prezibel is having to actually look in his mirrors because Alves is pushing Rapasa into him at the moment. Alves is right on the attack. He's definitely on the brink of burning that battery right now because he is pushing so hard. He's looking for a way through. He knows if he finds himself in this position for too long, that could be the chance of the win gone. Guess who's on the attack? Caden Lutt, another place gained. That's now the top 10 for the Haas driver, and next up is going to be Joe Murphy as well. So he's having a great day on those mediums, absolutely pushing on. That's what Rishan Jacobs would have wanted, but the front wing damage cost him from quite early on. And now Diego Zorzo is another driver who's been passing today. Looks to the outside line. Contact made as Diego Zorzo is going to try and get past 2 drivers. He backs out of it. Rapasa in second place. Zorzo still side by side with Alves. Who's going to give an inch between those 2 drivers? Mercedes versus Williams. At the moment, they are still side by side, and up ahead is now Diego Zorzo, who does move up to 3rd position. And they've all got to now try and close in to Gregory Prezibel, who's like, yes, guys, more of this fighting. I'm on my way to a first win in PCF2.
I've got to say the strategy for Zorzo here is an absolute screamer, and it seems to be the one that's going to propel him up to the top spots, as it's so far he's managed to claw his way back to the podium. It's Luca Rapasa, the next victim, the next name on your list, whereas further back we see Sergio Sobrino looking left and right on Nelson Alves, trying to find his way through. Caden Lutt has made his way up to P9, but it's all eyes on Zorzo, who's making massive inroads. Here we go, here Tyler, side by side, looking for a dive bomb on Sobrino. Plenty of space given between the two, and Sobrino's able to hold that one out just yet. But further back, Keelan Lutt making another move inroad up to P8, and those tyres are working beautifully for him. Set sights now on Campbell Adams.
Absolutely fantastic second phase of the race. We are seeing so much racing absolutely everywhere at the moment. And also Cameron Dowd wants to continue the racing. Sells the dummy. My word, was that late from Cameron Dowd. Going wheel to wheel with Joe Murphy. He's had enough of seeing the rear wing of the Alpine, and he no longer has to because he's cleared Joe Murphy and has moved up to the last points paying position. Back to Diego Zorzo, back to his charge through because he's now in 3rd. He's now only 2 tenths away, and he's going to be pushing Rapasa, and the top drivers who've had really nothing to worry about for so long have now got Diego Zorzo, who's been pushing onto the back, and he's been driving absolutely brilliantly. He's going to have a chance now to take this second place if he can get close enough. He is, of course, running out of battery. Rapasa also has had a lot of fighting to do as well, but you can sense that Diego Zorzo is going to try and make a move very shortly. Lap 24 out of 29. Has time to do it. He's getting closer in the Mercedes. Rapasa knows he has to defend. Diego Zorzo looks round the outside. He's tried this move before. Outside of 13, inside of 14. Nothing between Mercedes and Red Bull. A bit of a twitch there for Diego Zorzo. Sees Luca Rapasa fight his way back ahead. Still P2 for Rapasa.
Oh, that was just so unfortunate for Zorzo though. Like you say, he's done this move before. He's comfortable doing it again around the outside of 14. Around the outside of 13, inside of 14, but just a bit too hot on the throttle, and it's cost him that chance at P2, but he's still got 4 more laps to do it and to move ahead, and with a 5-lap tyre advantage to those drivers ahead of him, before Rishan Jacobs has had enough and decides to box and retire in the pit lane. Done for Rishan Jacobs, but it's expected. It's been lap 1 disaster, and he's managed to survive for 25 laps until he finally says, yeah, there's nothing more I can do here. I'll see you next week. And we're all eyes back on Zorzo as he's now coming towards 9 and 10. Can he get a run on the exit of 10 and potentially open up a door into turn 11 on Luca Rapasa? It's not coming just yet. No run coming his way, but he's still got a couple more corners to go. And will we see a repeat move as what we saw just a lap ago as Luca Rapasa wisened up to it and he's maybe going to form a defensive line? Will we see him to the outside here? There goes Rapasa covering that line straight away. He's not giving him the light of day for that one.
They learn very quickly, don't they? And it means Diego Zorzo is back to the drawing board. What can I do? Around 5.2 kilometers, 3.2 miles to try and get into second place. If I can get into second place, then there's going to be a chance surely to attack Gregory with the DRS. You get 4 DRS zones around this circuit, and you can tell how much of an issue Diego Zorzo is proving to be, because Rapasa has not been this tucked up to the back of Przybylь all race long, but he's having to basically give his best because he knows if Zorzo fights away by it could be race changing. We're heading into the final stages of this race now as well, the opening race of the season. Good exit for Diego Zorzo, but he's going to lose it a bit in the second phase. But once again, Corey, he's trying to set up a good exit out of turn 9 and 10, an attack towards 11, can't do it there, few meters on into turn number 12, 13 and 14.
Absolutely, we'll stay on board with Zorzo, and maybe, just maybe, he can get that run once again. You can see him closing up to the back of Rapasa there, out of turn 10, just has that grip advantage, able to get on the throttle, but no open door coming his way down into turn 11. Needs to wait until 13 and 14, needs to try and pull off that signature move he's done before, but is it coming here and now? No, it's not. He's pushing up to the back of Rapasa once again. Maybe now's the time. He's gone back to the drawing board and could be looking at a turn 1 move as he tries to get a run down out of 14, but just can't seem to get the traction. The gap opens up a little bit more once again to Rapasa, and it's just all just a spectator sport here for Zorzo. He just can't find his way through.
Absolutely. What a absolutely fantastic race this is turning out to be then. The ending of it. Rapasa now really all over the back of Gregory Przybylь.
Keelan Lutt's gone for a move on Sabrino there into turn 3. He's gone to the outside, which is now to the inside. Turn 5, and there's contact between the two once again. Keelan Lutt has made massive inroads, and with 2 laps to go, he's looking to the back of the front runners. This could be the chance for Keelan Lutt to maybe, just maybe, get onto the podium, but we still need to watch out for what Zorzo's going to do. Keelan Lutt has had an absolute masterclass strategy, and he's looking to score massive points here.
Absolutely, what a brilliant race this is turning out to be. Diego Zorzo back to the question of his exit. Sergio Sabrino gets a 3-second time penalty. That'll be costly for him as well, and it might open the door for Tony Hietala, trying to go all the way around the outside as we go through turn number 11, the 90-degree corner. Does Hietala keep his foot in? A lot of tyre hooking between the pair of them as well, and it could be inviting our F3 champion Campbell Adams into play as well.
Oh, he's looking for it, but Campbell Adams just not close enough just yet. You see drivers moving out of the dirt here on that straight, trying to cool the engines down. They don't want to lose that peak performance. Not now, not on the penultimate lap.
Wow.
Excuse me.
What a brilliant race. Yeah, what a brilliant race, Corey, this is. And what a brilliant drive from Lutt, as we've mentioned. He has progressed his way all the way through into contention in this race. Remember, he started all the way at the back as well, and he's now giving himself an opportunity to try and secure a brilliant result. This is the penultimate tour of the race. Diego Zorzo is going to get a chance once again. Now, he'll need to try and go for the move this lap, because he'll know that the chance of getting Gregory could fade away if he doesn't get on with this. So, in towards turn number 9, but he's just not close enough than he's been before. Rapasa sliding around as well through the corner. Same applies to Diego Zorzo. All action behind the wheel for these drivers as we're about to go on to the final lap of the race.
Yeah, Zorzo can't get close enough. It's only in sector 3 that has any sort of opportunity, being all over that rage diffuser at Luca Rapasa. He's just getting on the brakes a little bit later, having that extra tyre life to use, but now they're starting to feel a little bit grim. 14 laps completed on them, and you can see that they are a little bit worse for wear. He's just not getting the opportunities like he was in the previous laps. He's now stuck behind by 4/10, and it seems to be this way for quite a while. As further by, no! Huge contact with Nelson Alves and Keelan Lutt. I was just about to go on board with Keelan Lutt as he went to the inside. Oh, and no! What was that further back? Disaster! Was that a rejoin there for Nelson Alves, and he's just took out what can only be described as Cameron Dowles and Oscar Furahem, as they're also missing wings.
Wild. Absolutely wild stuff further back, but in terms of the battle for the lead, it is absolutely on between Gregory Przybylj, who is going to try and take this one, but Luca Rapace has not had a sniff all race long. Is this finally the moment for him to try and make the move? Goes around the outside and Rapace takes the lead. Absolutely brilliant to get ahead of Gregory Przybylj, who was chasing a win in his home race, and at the final moment, Rapace makes the move all the way around the outside of turn number 9. That was superb stuff. We were looking to see who was going to inch ahead, and it is going to be Rapace who will make his way into the final few corners on this circuit, and it is going to be a brilliant way to start off this season. It is going to be a 4th win in PCF2 for Rapace as he comes across the line to win the season opener for PCF2 in season 41. Przybylj in 2nd place and Zorzo in 3rd, but what a drive from Lut all the way from the back to P4 with strategy brilliance.
What an absolute banger of a season opener. Season 41 is off to an absolute fire-driven start. Rapace qualifying P4, managing to get into P3 on the race start, and then on the final lap in turn 9, around the outside, and managing to take lead of the race on 19-20 lap used hards to pull off that sort of manoeuvre. Absolutely insane, and a victory well deserved for Luca Rapace.
My word, what a way to start the season. We didn't get many last lap passes last season, even with the state of the game. That is our expectation, and what a finish that was. As I mentioned, the entire race, Gregory had it covered. There was not a moment where anyone was alongside him until the last lap. That is peak PCF2. That is why you tune in, and that is why it's in the balance all the way till the end.
Absolutely. Going on to the final order, Rapace, race victor. And then Gregory Przybylj, as you mentioned, did not have any worries until that last lap. Nobody put in a challenge to him until Rapace pulled off a monumental overtake. Zorzo up to P3 and Keenan Lutt with a monumental return drive from the back of the grid up to P4. Tony Hatala in a P5. Campbell Adams, that is Conrad Bohm, Sergio Sabrino, Joe Murphy, Isaac Leott, Ryan Modler, Reyes Imtiaz, Larry Tulke, Nelson Alves, Cameron Dowds, Oscar Rashan Jacobs, all being in a bit of a disaster at the back. That was Nelson Alves rejoining and taking out Dowds and Furriheim with him, but it was Rashan Jacobs and Liam Stevens did not finish the Grand Prix. Now we'll go to our interview room to see if we can get a chat from our front three after what has been a fantastic season opener.
Oh, haven't had that much fun all the way through this game cycle. It's been such a good race, and I think a brilliant way, Corey, for you to start off full time with us in PCF2 as well. Of course, you've had races where you've come in and filled in with me, and you've also done it with Alex in the past, but full time, I think that is a perfect way to get you ready for this season 41 full time F2.
Absolutely, back with an absolute banger. So I think we are going to get your race victor Luca Rapace in for a chat. So I'll just tell him to join the waiting room. Chaps, we do have Luca Rapace, so I'll drag him straight in. Starting off with your race victor, qualifying only at P4, couldn't find that favoured pole position, but on the race start managed to get into P3 and just stay there all the way to the strategy pit stop phase, which managed to get you P2, and then eventually that final overtake. What an absolute insane moment. Rapace, congratulations, a much deserved victory, and let's have your rundown on that.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Of course, qualifying was okay, then got Sergio at the start. And then I was just waiting till the pit stops because it's so hard to overtake. Then I see Nelson didn't pit lap 8, so I just followed Gregory. Yeah, and from there on was just trying to keep the 1-2. I knew being in second was the perfect spot and it would help him as well. So yeah, from there on it was just tire saving. And on the last lap he made, I think, a slight mistake in turn 3. The backhand stepped out a bit. And yeah, I was able to overtake him. So I'm really happy.
That was a very good race to say the least, and obviously that overtake in turn 9. Did you Were you sizing that up all lap, or did you think that that maybe was a bit too fetched too far on the 20 lap one tyres?
I knew the move was possible. In other races, I've done that sometimes, so I knew it was definitely possible. And then I saw Gregory going completely to the left, so I knew it was really tight to the corner. So yeah, I tried to leave as much room as I could, and yeah, I won the race, so I'm happy.
It was a brilliant way to get season 41 off to a fantastic start, and hopefully you have a similar result next time out, and maybe your time to take a championship here in PC F2. And on to Orme, if any of you got any questions for a passer.
Well, I've got nothing for myself, but that was absolutely brilliant. Thank you for entertaining us all the way, and we hope for more of that across the season.
Yeah, if I can be in this position every race, I'll be very happy. So that's the plan.
Fantastic stuff.
Thank you very much for joining us.
We'll move on board to Gregory Prizabal, who is your P2 finisher, your pole sitter, who led all the way through the Grand Prix by the pit stops, of course, until the final lap. And let's have your rundown on that pole position. What a beautiful lap that was. How was that feeling for you?
Oh, well, I PB'd sector 1, and then, yeah, I just got a terrible cut in the last sector, so probably not as good as I would have wanted, but it was still good enough for pole. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, it was a beautiful pole lap and good enough for pole. Like you say, Nelson Alves just fell a little bit short there, trying to challenge you for it. But in the race, leading all the way through, not much can be said because you were really away from all the action. Nobody was really challenging you until the pit stop phase where you were getting yourself back through to the top. And again, how was that for you, the race overall? Was you able to do anything to potentially defend off Rapassa in that final sector, or was you just accepting the inevitable?
Well, I always could have tried to go back into second place, but with the lag from being in Australia and, you know, just the way that racing on this game works, I'd much rather take a guaranteed P1 or P2 than, although it's probably higher likelihood to win from P2 here, it's just, I'd rather just finish P2 than P1, you know, if I can make sure of that. Probably could have saved some more time, but oh well, I tried. Just not good enough in the end there.
Still was a very good race, and hopefully, again, another pole you can take under your belt in round 2, and maybe Belgium is the track for you to take your victory. Do you feel in Belgium confident, or you just trying to go the best as you can?
Just try my best, and hopefully it's good enough.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Anything from you or me, my friend?
Well, I'd love to know, Gregory, a bit of a wider picture in terms of your expectations for the season. Of course, you fought for the F3 title last season, and I know Brazil didn't go to plan. There was quite a bit of drama from the off there. But in terms of moving back up to F2, of course, you've been here with us in the past. What's the expectation coming into this season in terms of the championship standings by the end of it?
It's just doing my best. I don't really know. No real expectation. Just take every race, one race at a time, and if it goes like this, who knows? Might be fighting for the title, but I'll just keep trying my best.
Who knows? Yep, absolutely. Well, that can be a great approach, and we look forward to seeing it across the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Finally, we move on to P3 Sitter, who was making a monumental charge through the field from what I remember being P14, able to claw your way back to the podium on the high compounded tyre. Diego Zorzo, what a fantastic run you had, and you were certainly trying to put the pressure on Luca Rapassa ahead to try and take that P2 away, but eventually in the final closing laps, were the tyres just a little bit too worn out and couldn't get through?
Yeah. When I got to Luca, I knew my tires were fading off. I had to push a lot to get past 10 cars at least. So yeah, I had a chance, but I got put a bit in the grass, and then I lost the rear in the last corner, so I couldn't overtake him. If not, it was probably gonna be the win because I was P2 with 5 lap first tires. But yeah, that and the engine as well. Engine was, I think, 148 degrees, nearly 150, which I think is probably the record because I was just so close to everyone, and I was losing so much to Luca because of that in the straight.
Yeah, we know the temperature affects your overall top speed and performance, and is obviously disastrous when you're following in just such a long DRS training. Like you mentioned, you were close to everybody, you were making overtakes, you were pushing hard, so yeah, temperature gets high, and then you did manage to almost get through, but just got a little bit too trigger happy on the throttle in 13 and 14 there. But it's nice to see that you had some sort of a overtaking method through 13 and 14, outside of 13, inside of 14, and then you was guaranteed to make the overtake stick. So it was kind of nice to see that. But unfortunately, no, just fell a bit short there, didn't you, on Rapasa once? But again, yeah, the tyres, you did a monumental charge, and all credit to you, managing to claw your way through from P14, and you are sat here now in P3. So it's a good start to the season, and you know you're looking like a worthy contender after that charge.
Yeah, I mean, could have been better. I wasn't feeling particularly good today in quali, although I was really fast in practice the other days. So yeah, I didn't do a good enough job there. And yeah, in race, I like Australia, so I've always been pretty good at it. But I also had a bit of luck. Everyone going too early. I also wanted to go early, but I didn't because I saw someone pit in lap 7 and then in lap 8, and I was like, yeah, we're just gonna stand. But yeah, it was nice race overall.
Yeah, no, it was a good race to see. And the first stint got a bit slow, but the second stint certainly did come alive. And yeah, great run from yourself. And P3, got to be happy with that. On to Omi for anything from you, my friend.
Nothing from me, Corey. You've covered it all pretty well, but hoping to be speaking to you more, Diego's also this season on the podium and possibly on the top step as well. So congratulations on the podium today, and we look forward to seeing you more often across the season.
Thank you so much, guys. I hope the same.
And that will do us. I'll bring us back to the commentators booth just for a quick second so I can show you the season calendar that is yet to come for season 41. We started off here in Melbourne, Australia, before we get over to round 2. Although we spoke about it, it's Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, and as Omi said, round 3, Texas, another circuit that has seen great action and great moments here in PSGL before we have our first break week before we come back for the prestigious event, the Monte Carlo Monaco. Cannot wait for that. I absolutely love driving Monaco. Now, to watch it and commentate at this level, well, this is where things are going to get spicy. Before we get to round 5, that is Austria, and off to Canada after that, before we head ourselves over to Silverstone, my home Grand Prix, and Omi's home Grand Prix. We absolutely love it here. The home of Formula 1 back in 1950. And then on to Mexico for round 8. Then there is a break week, and as you can see, round 8 will continue for the PlayStation side after that said break week, before we come back for round 9, Saudi Arabia in Jeddah. I've said it before, say it again, that is my favourite circuit of the entire calendar. I love to drive it, I love to see races there. Certainly opens the door for a lot of overtaking potential, and I think he's got the highest number of turns out of all the tracks on the calendar. 27 turns, I believe, in total. So Sector 1 making up 13 of those turns. And of course, the famous Jeddah S's, which has seen drama in all counts of sim racing. And then round 10, it's Brazil, which would have been your season finale, I believe, last season. But season finale this time out will be, of course, Abu Dhabi.
What a calendar. What a calendar. Absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a box office season if round 1 is anything to go by. We had a few drivers. We had, of course, a lot of returning drivers who we would have thought could be the championship favourites. Rapace has definitely proven that, but a complete different day for Liam Stevens retiring and Leo Lund not even being here. I think that just shows you the bigger picture of how this season is going to play out. You've had F3 stars that have come into play. You've had drivers with mediocre seasons as well in F2 previously who have found their rhythm, who found their groove, and who are giving it their best. This is going to be a season where it could go all the way down till that round 11 Abu Dhabi that you mentioned, Corey, where I'm sure we'll be getting the suits out all set up and ready for what should be a great title fight all the way till the end.
We can hope that it goes all the way to that finale, and as you mentioned, we will be suited and booted in true fashion, in true tradition, as you brought upon us. I mean, I'm quite glad for that, because I think it'd be nice. Right? It's a nice addition. I did it last season. Last time I did a PSGL finale, I think in F2 was a season 39, was suited and booted. And season
Yeah.
40, I was on the sidelines, and I was mostly doing the E-Series side of things. But we're back for season 41, and here in PCF2. But that is all for here and today. We shall see you next week, same time, same place, for Spa-Francorchamps. You do not want to miss that one.